Hello, I am going to talk to you about dementia. So just a couple quick facts. Dementia is not a normal part of aging. This affects a lot of people worldwide, and it is actually a leading cause of death worldwide. Early signs of dementia are usually recognized by family or other important people that are involved in these people's daily lives. Two important things about I got some tips from Nancy, who works at Beaming and is a wonderful resource. Her biggest tips were getting on people's levels, so making sure that you're sitting down next to someone who's in a wheelchair or who's sitting at a table and not talking over them. Giving them longer time to process questions, to form an answer, sometimes immediately asking them or rephrasing a question they haven't even processed the first question you asked. So it's really, really important to give them a minute or so to process the question you just asked. Instead of asking them yes or no questions, it's better to give them options. So would you like to groom a horse, or would you like to go watch the birds outside? Instead of asking, would you like to groom the horse? Redirecting a person if they become agitated or they're not understanding something. This can be as simple as changing the activity you're doing, talking to them about something else. There's so many ways to redirect, especially with all the stuff that Beaming has to offer. Sight and hearing are two big things that may be an issue for these people, so we are not always sure, so making sure that we're not asking extreme distance, so looking all the way across the arena, they might not be able to see that, so having them look at things that are within a reasonable distance of them. And hearing, we need to speak clearly, which is really important, but also at an appropriate volume. We don't necessarily need to be yelling at them for them to be hearing exactly what we're saying. And as the disease progresses, they are typically going to begin to lose words, so having shorter sentences is going to make it easier for them to understand. So again, Nancy is a great resource that Beaming is so fortunate to have, so always utilize her for other questions. Just some other tips for communicating. Reassure the person, speak calmly and clearly, always listening to their concerns and frustrations. They can struggle to clearly verbalize how they are feeling, so helping them understand and trying being understanding of them is really important. And trying to show them that you understand if they're angry or they're fearful, because when they're not understanding what's going on, that is obviously going to be very upsetting. Allowing them to have as much control as possible, obviously when there's safety concerns, because there are safety concerns at Beaming, making sure that we address those, but also still allow them to have control over what they're doing at memory cafes and stuff like that. Respecting their personal space is a big one. Asking people before you touch them. Not everybody likes to be touched. Not always necessarily just getting right in their face. Ensuring that we are respectful, because not everybody likes that. Finding activities that are at their functional level at Beaming when we have the memory cafes. Katie does a great job having lots of activities, and making sure they're able to do the activities that we are helping them with is going to be really important, or adapting those activities to what they are able to do. Also, you can remind the person of things, but don't use sentences like, don't you remember? Those can be really hard for them to hear, and it's they might not remember, so it's okay to just be like, oh, well, your daughter's here, her name is this, instead of being like, oh, this is your daughter, don't you remember this is your daughter? And finally, just having a two-way conversation. You don't necessarily have to talk to them. They will tell you stuff from their childhood. They will tell you the things that they do remember. So just having that two-way conversation for as long as possible is going to be beneficial for them.